Happy Saturday morning, guys. Coming at you from the Blackwell homestead. It is early. As you can see, the sun is just starting to come up behind me here. It is Derby Day today. The Kentucky Derby will run this afternoon, and this will be our third annual Kentucky Derby party. So I'm smoking some pork shoulder today for all of our guests that are coming to the party. We're expecting around 40 people. So we're gonna smoke off 2 pork shoulders on my little Oklahoma Joe smoker, and I'm gonna bring you guys along with me. Basket up with Jealous Devil, which is a type of lump natural hardwood charcoal that I've had a lot of success with. It's a Brazilian hardwood, so it burns very hot but also very long. But anyway, use your favorite lump charcoal, or you could use briquettes if you prefer that. I've had better luck with lump. And we're gonna let this go till we have about a fist-sized ball of fire in there. In the coals. At this point, we're running the vents completely wide open, have the lid open. We want to get a good draft going. It's going to take about 10 or 15 minutes. Then we'll start to choke things off and get a good set temp on. So we haven't added any wood yet. We're getting our fire going first. Wood will be one of the last things that we throw on before we put the meat on. Smolder your wood and put off a nice smoke, not a creosote mess. So, all right, so it's time to prep the meat. So guys, we got the pit coming up to temperature now, and now it's time we start putting a rub on, letting our meat sit. We're gonna wanna let this sit for about a half an hour after we get the rub on, just to set. The meat will start to sweat. Some of the salts in the rub will start to draw out some of the moisture, and that's how we'll create a good bark on the meat. So what we have here is a twin pack of Boston butt pork shoulders. These are boneless. Some guys do bone in. My local Costco sells boneless in the twin pack, and for 21 bucks for this twin pack, I'll deal with not having a bone in. So what that means is I'll end up having to truss those together, and I'll show you that here in a second. So when the butcher takes the bone out of a shoulder, it makes a little bit of a mess out of the meat. So we'll start with one at a time here. Get this onto our cutting board. Slide this one over for just a second. So they pull that shoulder bone out. See what I mean? And we want to keep this like a tight little ball so it cooks evenly. So we just take some twine. Put 2 strips down. Set our shoulder right on top of that. Nice and tight. That one. And snug it up. There we are, not complicated. Yeah, don't be afraid to buy boneless. Because I've used this method quite a few times and it's never let me down. Today we're also going with just French's mustard as a binder. So today I'm not injecting. I have injected before, but for this case, these are all just going to be pulled apart to make sandwiches and lathered up in barbecue sauce. So it's not Not quite as crucial. It's not for any type of competition or anything like that. It's just for a bunch of friends to eat and enjoy. Just help the rub stick to it. And when I cook, I'm cooking fat side up. I want all that to melt down into the meat and give it extra flavor. So we'll start with the bottom side with our rub. And speaking of rub, my first time trying this rub. This is from Meat Church. It is Holy Gospel barbecue rub. Heard a lot of good things about Meat Church, so we're gonna give it a shot. Going pretty heavy, guys. Make sure you get all your sides real good too. A little pat. And flip. Transfer him over to the pan, let him set and sweat, and we're gonna repeat with the second butt. I'm shooting for a cook temp of around 275 today, so we still got a little ways to go till we get there. So that's what we're looking for, like a big fist ball of cook. Now ready to add some hickory and let that smolder and get a nice smoke going. So this is just chunks of natural dried hickory, and it gives pork or beef an awesome flavor. So let's toss those in. Cruising about 275. It's almost got like a bluish tint to it, which is good smoke. It's not putting creosote or any soot on the meat. It's just gently giving it real nice smoke. Well, now that we got those babies in for a smoke bath, all we really have to do is watch the temperature around 275, and about every hour we're gonna flip the top and we're gonna mist it with just a little bit of apple juice just to keep the moisture in the meat. Right now we're gonna cook to color, okay? So when that gets the mahogany dark color on the outside bark, that's when I'm wrapping. So what I mean by that is I pull the meat off the smoker, take it back over to the table, wrap it in 2 layers of tin foil, back on the smoker. At that point, we're cooking to temperature. We want to go between 203, 204 is a very soft, everything's broken down type of temperature. And the reason that we wrap after the color is right is I don't want to burn the outside before I have a chance to break down all the connective tissue that's inside that shoulder. So when we wrap it, it keeps the cooking process going, allows the stuff inside to really break down and become very, very tender, but doesn't overcook the outside. But right now it's just, it's time to kick back, relax, and it's, let's see, it's almost time for a beverage. Come back, so at this point we're cruising for about an hour and 15 minutes, right in between that 250, 275 mark. So let's take a peek, and it's time to baste these. We got a little food grade sprayer here with just some straight apple juice in it to help keep the moisture in it. Let's see what these guys look like. Oh my, looking good. Give a little spritz. And let them keep going. And a lot of it is not based off time, it's just based off temperature and feel. So once we hit that 200, 202 degree mark, I'll be using my probe thermometer to push into the meat. And once I feel that there's very little or hardly any resistance, I know I'm good. Back on the pit, wrapped in foil. I know I've got a couple hours, but I have this little dot thermometer that I'm gonna go ahead and poke right into one of the bigger parts here. Give them a slide down. So we hit that 204 mark. An alarm will sound when we get there, but as you can see, even though the outside is cooked, or the outside looks done as close as I want to get it, I'm still a ways away. So about another 62 degrees
What would it
to
be?
go. But look who shows up. You ever have that friend that shows up when you're done doing everything and just shows up for the glory? That happens to be my brother.
That's not true. I'm not here for the glory. I'm here for the meat.
Okay, so we were on at 7. Noon would be 5, so it puts us to, we're at now hour 6. It's 1 o'clock. And my alarm just went off, so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So back into the same hole. And look at the temperature climbing here. Bingo! So now the other thing to check back here is there's hardly, like, I'm barely pushing it. There's like no resistance. So you know that we're done. So I did that to the other side here too. I'm gonna park these guys in the cooler and they'll just hang out for the next several hours. Party's at 4, so I can take these out in about an hour, hour and a half, shred them up, get them in our roaster pan to deliver them to the party for all of our guests. So finally putting my brother Keith to work. He's wiping out the cooler for me.
You're welcome.
Keith, what is your
My.
favorite, your favorite? What's the best thing that I ever barbecued that you ate?
Your prime rib. Not even a question.
Really?
Christmas dinner. It's fantastic. Are you getting this?
Yes, I'm getting this.
But what makes it fantastic? There's a
sauce that he makes. Casey's special sauce. It is a horseradish mayonnaise dip that you put all over the prime rib.
It is delightful. It's delightful. It goes perfect with the prime rib.
It is really good. The
So
prime,
anyway-
and the bark you put on the prime rib is
We do a real heavy bark with like fresh rosemary, thyme, sage, crusty coarse salt. It's very good. Maybe you'll see it sometime. We have no idea.
Well, let me try to answer your question. We don't know. Oh, juicy. Look at those butts.
Okay, so those things can hang out in there for several hours and they will stay wonderful. What are you working on, Keith?
Nothing.
What are you working on, bud? Tell us the truth. It's
Nothing.
truth time.
What? I'm going to go home now.
No, you said you're doing a diet.
I'm losing weight because my belly is.
Turn to the side.
I'm going to implode into myself.
No. Just there it is. Oh boy. So, what's your weight currently?
Shut up.